One. We're recording.
Hi, everybody. This is Chris and Nikki Cotton coming to you live from the beach in California. So welcome to the Heat team call. This is January 16th, 2018, and it happens to be the day that we're going to launch the year call. We had Sean ready to go on the 2nd, but we got interceded by another call, so he was kind enough to come back and join us today on the 16th. So appreciate you all taking time to join us. We are entering our 27th year with Juice Plus Company, and it's never been a more exciting mission. It's never been easier to get things rocking, and it's never been more important to share the mission that we've been on, inspiring healthy living around the world. In 2017, we launched the Healthy Living Revolution, hashtag Take Healthy Back, and we're experiencing momentum unmatched in the 47 years of this company. So I can say to everybody on the call, you're at the right place at the right time. And we're lucky and blessed to have Sean Myers, one of the top earners in our company, here tonight, to help you make 2018 your best year ever. So up till now. What I want to do right now is just go ahead and introduce Sean. I was thinking.
I want to do a little something too.
I knew you would, honey. I was thinking that we go back for about 27 years. So right around when we were both at the same time, and Sean and I got together shortly after Juice Plus came out. We were both building internationally, and I won't say where, but that's where we met. Well, we met in Mexico. I didn't want to mention it because it wasn't the most successful trip we've ever had in the company. So it was a great time to get to know each other, and it's been obviously, since Juice Plus is going into its 25th year, it's been an incredible 25-year run. Sean and Jennifer started this business. I think you're about 23 or 24, right, Sean?
Yeah, 23 and 24.
And not to take too much away from your story, but I think within a year or so, you were a national marketing director, and you and Jennifer started building this business from your first sailboat, right? Mm-hmm. I'll leave the rest of the story to you, but for all of you that don't know Sean, he has won just about every award you can win in our business. He is one of the absolute top income earners. He's been a Elton Awards winner. He won the Elton Award. He and Jennifer, his wife Jennifer, won that award for top production of the 39 Club members shortly after 39 Club was introduced. And again, may not mean a lot to some of you, but that's the top situation at that time that you could be in. And he and Jennifer had the biggest growth in that year. So he's won some Elton Awards like our Oscars. He's won the most coveted award in our business, which is the Founders Award. And that is only given once a year, handpicked by Jay Martin, our founder, to the people that have been foundational in making this company the success that it is. And right now, you can say, to make an analogy, everything is hitting on all pistons. The momentum is great. And as I said before, it's just never been a better time to be in our business. So I have a couple of personal things I want to say about Sean, but
yeah, we got to get this show on the road, because you know what? We love Sean. We want to hear what he has to say, but I'm still going to take 30 seconds just to tell you, Sean, first of all, how much I love you, how much you have been an important part of our lives in so many ways, some which you know and some which you don't. And you're one of the things that I probably love most about Sean is he is really the true picture of a great friend. Because there was a period of our lives where I was really in need, and Sean was there to support me in a way that I don't know that anybody ever has. So Sean, I take my hat off to you for that. And that just gives you an idea of the heart of our top earners of our company, because everything comes from the top down. So you're going to get a really great chance to listen to Sean. And Sean, we've only got about a half hour. So what are you going to say, Chris?
I'm going to say,
beat me?
First of all, Sean does come to us from some rare air in the sense that he is a 7-figure a year earner. So obviously you guys can figure that out. That's good. And our relationship over the last 25 years has been pretty incredible. We've traveled the world together. We've had some incredible adventures, helicopter skiing in Canada, helicopter skiing in Alaska. I think we had a 20-year run of ski trips getting together. And of course, sailing across the South Pacific on your boat, where we had this little story I'm going to share with you real quickly. Is that, small boat, 3 guys, hadn't seen the sight of land for 20 days. We had some interesting conversations, got a little bit irritable. And one time I said to Sean, Sean, I said something about, oh, I think you're laughing at me. And he said, no. He said, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. You just quit laughing. So we figured out that we've been giggling now together for about 27 years. So we've had a great time, and I'm really excited to let you guys get to know Sean a little bit better. So Sean, why don't you jump in and go ahead and share your story.
Hey, quickly, Chris.
Well, thank you guys. That's a very.
Can you see that
what?
guitar back there, Sean? You see that guitar back
Oh,
there?
I do see the guitar, yeah.
Yeah, just so you know, it's the first time. It's never been more appropriate to have that guitar behind us when you're our speaker, because how you are with music. That guitar has been signed by the Rolling Stones, sitting behind you. So there's the energy for the call tonight. I'm putting you on.
I can't wait to play it.
You're the best.
Well, thank you for that very, very kind introduction. You guys are so special to Jennifer and I. And the introduction came after 27 years. Hard to believe we've been with this company for 27 years. We got started with this business really like so many people do, just to look at a part-time income. We were 23 and 24 years old, looking to go into the corporate world. Had a hard time to go into the corporate world because it was right after the 1987 stock market crash, and all the interviews that I was going on were filled with people who already had done those jobs and were in their 40s and didn't really have a shot, and which I'm so thankful for. That the timing was perfect for me to really take a look at this. I can't take any credit for it. Jennifer was the one who had an open mind. My friend told me about this, and I won't go through the whole story, but I was totally negative on it. I thought it was some kind of scam. I just didn't want to hear about it. And she, with an open mind, went and listened to a meeting and then came home and told me about it. And we were broke. She was working while we were figuring out what we were going to do as a waitress, and we were literally living out an envelope with her tips. The area we were living in, it was too rough for her to work at night because we only had one car, and she couldn't walk home. And I had a full commission job, and I hadn't made a sale yet. So the opportunity was available. We were available for a great opportunity. Unfortunately, she had an open mind to look at it. And we got off to a pretty quick start, really just on the products. We got out and got some people on the products, got great experiences. And from there, started plugging into the system, plugging in to the company. And for the people that are on the phone or on the call tonight or on the video tonight, this is a company, the more you look at it, the better it gets. The more you investigate, the more rocks you turn over, the more inspiring it becomes. Where most things, the more you get into it, the more you uncover, the secrets and the things they didn't really tell you. Ours is really one of those companies that we don't have enough time when we first talk to people to talk about all the fantastic things that the company offers. And that's kind of what I found out. And got serious about it. As Chris mentioned, we had some really great success early on, really based on hard work. My goal was to talk to 30 people a day. And I achieved that, not every day, but a lot. And it was all about activity. We put the numbers to work for us. And those numbers produced National Marketing Director for me, then Jennifer, National Marketing Director a year and a half later. And then, we were off to the races. But we did go through some good times and some bad times. Back then, we had a marketing plan that was different than it is today. It wasn't a residual product as it is today. And we kind of had this explosion, and then we had a cycle down, and then we had another run up, and we had a cycle down. And not everybody in the company has had those experiences, but we did. And as we look back, as Chris mentioned, we make a lot of money. But the thing that I'm so excited about over the last, and we've been in a little bit longer than 27 years, we're I think 29 years now. And the thing that I count beyond everything else that we could say are blessings to have from this company is our friends. And Chris and Nikki right at the top of that list. It's a different experience than most kids these days are coming out of college thinking they're going to have. The average kid coming out of college expects to have 7 to 9 careers over the course of their life. And that's starting over. You know, that's pressing the reset button. You can't build those relationships in a period where you're just changing all the time. And I just feel so lucky that I've been able to work with some of the coolest people on the planet, heartfelt people, people that are out, mission-driven, oriented people. And I can say that that person's been one of my close friends. These people for 27 years, these people for 28 years, these people for 15 years. And it's not just they've been friends, they're our best friends, and we have common goals, we have common ideas, and we're up to something together. And that to me is such a unique thing over thinking I'm going to have to change my job 7 to 9 times to be able to achieve in life. And so I'm thankful. I feel lucky. I feel very, very grateful that we've had the opportunity to be involved with this company. There's a lot of things that have come with it. You know, we talk about money in our lives, no matter whether we're talking about an opportunity or we're talking about how much money you have to pay your bills, or whether how much money you have compared to the life you'd like to have. Right? Money is a conversation, and it's a very, very poignant conversation at the beginning of every year. The 2 number 1 New Year's resolutions, which I'm not a New Year's resolution guy, but the 2 number 1 New Year's resolutions are I want to make more money this year, right? I want to work on my wealth, and I want to work on my health, right? I want to lose some weight, I want to get healthier, and those things tend to wear off for one reason. And the one reason most people fail in New Year's resolutions isn't because it wasn't motivated, isn't because they didn't really want it. It's because they didn't have a good plan and they didn't have a support system. And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited every year when the new year comes around, because it's a time period where people are excited about making change. They're excited about doing something. They want more. But we have a plan. It's not just go to the gym, buy a membership, and maybe it'll work out. It's not just go on this diet, and after you go off the diet, you're going to lose some weight while you're on the diet, and then you're going to blow back up again because you're going to go back to your old habits, and your body went into starvation mode, and you gain even more weight than you had before. And you yo-yo your way into a worse situation for the next. That's what diets do. Everybody knows that. And guess what? That's also what the false hope that you are actually going to make a difference this year in your finances does to people too, because people get worn out and they stop setting goals. And pretty soon, the dream that your new year can be better than the last year starts to get fuzzy, and it just doesn't feel real. And what we do for people is we're like that interjection, that idea that changes everything. Why? Because we have a plan and a support structure. So if this year, 2018, is really one of those years where you said, I want this to be better than the last year, you kind of got to look at it. And I always like to take stock. You can't just be denial, right? If you didn't have a good year last year, you got to take a peek at it and say, I'd like that for that to change. I'd like to be a little different this year and that. But you can't focus on those things. You have to focus on the things that you want, and you have to also pull some things from the previous year and pat yourself on the back. Give yourself some credit. It's easy to inspire yourself when you are in a positive state. It's almost impossible to inspire yourself when you're beating yourself up. And this idea is something that we have a system for, because we have a shred, we have support systems, we have Facebook groups, we have trainings, we have conferences, we have Zoom calls like this, and we have people that may just be falling in life caught in this loving safety net of possibility. And it happens that way. People come into us, and all of a sudden, it's not just they start making some better health decisions, because Juice Plus is a catalyst for that. But all of a sudden they get into the business, and then they start making a little money, and they start getting some self-confidence. And then that goes into the next meeting, and sooner or later, they're nicer to their spouse. They're nicer to the dog. They're nicer to the neighbor. And guess what? What you put out, you get back. And so now all of a sudden, this positive little tiny catalyst, just a little net of a plan, and we believe in you, starts to move people forward, and it starts to actually snowball on itself. And that, for me, is what's so exciting about the beginning of every year, because we get to kick off the new year with the hope, the possibility, the dreams that it's going to be different, and it's going to be better than the year we just came from. And so, you know, Chris asked me to come on the call tonight and share my story and share some ideas about what makes a good year a good year. But I have been doing something for the last 28 years, 29 years, that I always call as my key ingredient. It's my key thing. If you're taking any notes tonight, I put a star by this one. And, you know, success leaves clues. And this one was left for me a long time ago. I really started analyzing why, when I would sit down with someone and we'd plan out their goals, and they would fail. They wouldn't actually put the discipline in. They wouldn't actually do what they said they were going to do. And then I'd say, okay, well, let's set some more goals. Let's set something else. What is it you really want? Because you got to find out what people want. And they put that down, and then pretty soon they weren't doing it. And I literally started kind of, how many people set goals? How many, you know, everybody knows they're supposed to set goals. You know, goals are to success what air is to life. If you don't have them, how do you know when to celebrate? How do you know when I'm doing great? You have to have something you're shooting for in life, or you can never celebrate. You got to celebrate. The key to having great goals is to start from a place of gratitude from where I am, so I can move to where I want to be. And it's about personal growth. So why wouldn't people, if they get involved with us, why wouldn't they set goals? And it dawned on me one day, why? Because they wrote down some goals that they didn't commit to and they didn't achieve, and then they lost their self-confidence in that process, and they felt guilty. They just did. They wrote some stuff down. They didn't do it. I get it. I've written down a lot of goals. I haven't achieved them all, but I've got enough that my life has turned into an amazing sea of possibility. So I changed it around. Every 6 months, I sit down with a goal planning session, and my goal planning session has the goals with I start out my spiritual goals. Where am I at spiritually? Because I think you have to come from a solid foundation, and that's the A connection. If you're not right, how can you be right for other people? It's impossible. And then I go into, you know, my family goals, and, you know, what am I going to do this year that's going to make my relationship with my wife, Jennifer, better than it was the year before? What am I going to do with my relationship with my daughter, Michaela, my son, Jacob? And what am I going to do for the whole family? What are we going to do to make this a better year than we've ever had before? And I write stuff down. You know, it's time in the game. You got to create things. Otherwise, your normal schedule just takes over. And that normal schedule isn't what you want to create. The normal schedule is what you already have. So you've got to intercede in your own life to make things happen. So I have that goal planning session, and I'm just going through, and I'm literally thinking, what's possible? What could I do? And I borrow stuff from people all the time. When you meet somebody and they have something in their life that looks awesome to you, steal it and make it your own. Just write that down. I'd like to have that in my life. I'm taking that one. I'm going to make that happen for me. That looks really cool. I like the way they talk about each other. I like the way that relationship looks. I like the way this is. I'm going to make that happen. Now, the magic here is I do it every 6 months. And the magic is that if I don't pay attention to something I wrote down here in January, by the middle of the year, and I don't do anything about it, I'm looking at it. I might leave it on there for another 6 months. But I really look at it because I'm thinking, I'm not sure. I didn't commit to that. That didn't motivate me. That didn't get me out of bed. It didn't inspire me. I didn't get anything good out of that. And if I don't do anything for 2 6-month periods on that issue, I take it off the list, even if it's about losing weight, which I know I have to do. I'm not motivated at that point. I tell you what, if you'll put your goals into a 6-month planning session about creating possibilities that you want in your life, if you don't do anything about it, it's not your fault. It's the goal's fault. You weren't good enough with whatever you put down to inspire you. Change your goal. Change your goal. Now, look, I'm not saying you don't have to have discipline. You got to have discipline. I'm not saying you can be lazy and things are going to happen. You can't. You got to commit to what it is you want in life. But if you want something and you write it down, you need to write it down in a way that it's going to inspire you to get after. And when we look back on our life, just about everything that we've done that has made the biggest impact, the stories that make the impact of our world, they were originally on a 6-month goal planning session. You know, when our kids were young, most of my friends' kids were a little bit older, and I was borrowing, you know, I like the way they work with their kids, and man, these kids have turned out fantastic. What did they do? I was always looking at that, right? You know, I had little ones, and I'm like, I want to take the examples in front of me that have worked out fantastic and do that, because being a parent's a scary thing, right? You know, there's lots and lots of books on it, and they all disagree. And then your kids come out, and you're like, well, that kid isn't like it was in the book. That's totally different. Oh my gosh, they're in my face. This is crazy. I mean, I say, this is what you're supposed to do. I give all the explanation and everything, and they go, I'm out of here, right? No, that's not the way the book said it was supposed to be. So I was like always looking at, how do you do this? How do you do this? And I really got into the idea that the key to relationships, especially with kids, but it's anywhere, is time in the game. And I realized that the time in the game that we had with our kids was driving them to and from their sporting events. They'd get out of school and we'd start that process, and they always had at least 2 sports going on. We limited it to that. They want to do everything. And that was my quality time, was in the car. I'm like, this isn't the greatest quality time. So I need to figure out in one of those goal planning sessions, what could I do with my kids that I would create a bonding experience that when they got older and went through their teenage years when I wasn't going to be cool, it would sustain our relationship and make it good all the way throughout the other end. Because I knew that was coming. And so I was thinking about everything. It's just, you know, we can get into, we live in Colorado, so it's hiking and biking and fishing and you name all the outdoor activities. And that's what I was thinking. And I realized that, you know what, we had tried this before. We wanted to get a mountain place, and we only were able to go one weekend to figure out where we even wanted to get a mountain place. Once again, quality time was to and from the sports. That was our world. So I thought, you know what, somehow we got to break out of the system so that we can have some quality time. And I thought, I got it. Let's sail around the world. That would totally take us out of our patterns and create lots of bonding time. And boom. So I went up, I pitched my wife on it. She didn't speak. And so, you know, it didn't work out right there in the beginning, but I had to do some research. It took me 2.5 weeks. I researched it back. I said, it takes about $1 million to buy the kind of boat we need to buy. It's going to take about 3 years to sail around the world. And this is what it's going to be. It's going to be fantastic. And once again, she didn't speak. And so I knew, you know, that was my best pitch. It's tennis, right? I hit the ball over, and it's time for her to hit it back. If I keep going, it's not going to work. And she waited for a little while, and she said, which is, you know, probably 20 seconds, but that's a long time of silence. We just do 20 seconds. That was 4, and that's uncomfortable, right? And I'm just standing there waiting and waiting and waiting. She goes, I'll give you a year. So I created a trip, and we created a sailing trip where I had to build a boat in France. I sailed across the Atlantic. We outfitted it in the British Virgin Islands, and then we sailed for 15 months from the Caribbean to Australia. Chris was from the Galapagos Islands to the Marquesas, French Polynesia. So that whole thing happened from a goal planning session that took me 3 years to plan the trip. It took 15 months to do it. We left in November of 2006, came back in February of 2008, and now my daughter's graduating college. When we left, they were 8 and 10. And you know what? That trip is a marker in time for us. And it's well, you know, we look back, when was that? Well, was that before the boat trip or after the boat trip? It was that big a deal. And it did create that bonding experience and that amazing connection with our family. Now, I use that as my biggest example, but I got thousands of smaller examples. And, you know, people say, wow, you know, that sounds really great, but I don't want to sail around the world. No, it's not about that. It's about what you want. It's about what you want to create. Now, I will correlate this back. The only reason we could do that is this opportunity gives us time because it gives us residual income. We have a residual income that keeps working and keeps building and keeps going. After you build it up for a while, you can't just start this and have it right away. It takes time. But once you build it up and you build a good layer of leadership, whether or not I do the business or not, they're going to do it. I mean, we've given them all they got, and they have their own goals and dreams. They're independent of mine. And so we were able to go and do that. And the other key is we could do that because our business, the company, does all the shipping for us. They do the collections for us. They set up all the stuff for us. They do all this that if we were in a traditional business, we would have to do, and we could not take that trip. There'd be no way. Or we'd have to sell the business to be able to take that. And then we come home, what would we do? We walk right back after a trip like that, back into our lives like it had never happened, back in the same house. And here we are today. Not in that same house, we're in a bigger house. But it's another adventure, you know, get the big house. And who knows what the next adventure is. I got a couple.
Another goal.
But
Another goal.
Those 6-month goal planning sessions are the design phase of creating the life that you want. And the beginning of the year is the magical time. It's like the space fairies and dust are all around us right now because everybody's doing the same thing at the same time. And that does create momentum. That creates enthusiasm, and it creates just a little more discipline and belief that maybe I have a chance this year to have it be a better year. And I'll tell you what, if you don't get your habits to change, the year will go like that. How fast did 2017 go? 2016, 2015. Guess what? 2018 is going to go even faster. That's just the way our world is. It's the pace. It's what we do. It's how it is. So if you're not living an intentional life, if you're not creating what you want in your life, it's because you're not focused on the details. And you're pretty soon, it's like, oh, there goes another year. And what happened last year? I don't know. It was the same as the year before. I didn't make any changes. I didn't get disciplined. I didn't get focused. I didn't write a goal down. Or I wrote a goal down and I didn't do anything about it. And I didn't change the goal to get myself inspired. So those are a couple things. I mean, I could babble on forever. I don't know if I'm addressing any of the stuff that you wanted me to hit, Chris, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody would have. You know, once again, I really come from a place of gratitude for this opportunity. I do not take it for granted. I feel so lucky to be in a business where every person that we get on the product loves us and we love them. Our distributors love us and we love them. And it's like this, my wife calls it our juice plus bubble. You know, we literally live in a situation where it's not like normal. It's like we're all so supportive and so happy and kind words. And it's just, it's not all perfect. We got challenges, but it's better than anything that I've seen around.
Hey, Sean, we appreciate that. I loved your explanation of, and we went through that phase too, where you realize you can design a life exactly the way you want it. And the thing you said also when you sit down for your goals is what's even possible, you know, and I know your mindset is what's not even possible. Everything's possible. Could you address real quickly, because we're almost out of time, how you feel about
how much time do I have? I don't have my clock.
You have 1 minute, but we'll give you a couple more.
Drop the mic.
So, Sean, we've got a lot of, it's interesting, we all came in the business when our kids were little, 1 and 4, and they're all grown up, and now we have a whole new group of mommies. I feel like oh my God, I'm back in what it felt like, and it's so awesome and exciting. But a lot of them have that question, you know, they keep saying, well, you know, the kids are only young for a short period of time. You can work forever. You know, how do you balance the sacrifice up front for that? How do you feel about that? How do you work through that? Can you advise some of our parents how that is?
Well, I think that this is the best mommy business on the planet, because what mommies typically do is they're home while they're having the babies, and then when the kids go to school, they go back to work. And inside of that idea, there's usually I mean, the statistics are you need to make about an extra $2,500 to $3,000 a month for the average job after you net it all out, all the expenses and the clothes and the cars and the meals and everything, to be able to bring home about $2,500 a month when mom goes back to work. And that's the reality in our world today. And we, once again, boom, we have a completely different plan. So moms can build this up while their kids are young and then continue to have an amazing business and not just be all about the kids, actually have, you know, some achievement and self-worth and a place other than just for the kids. And by the way, there's nothing healthier than that. Nothing healthier than that. You know, if you're just helicopter mom and your kids, let me tell you, I can send you pictures and stuff of what that looks like later. I mean, that is not good. So having a career, mom, raising kids, and then being there when they come home from school. How was your day? Being at all of the ball practices. Being at, pretty soon, your kids, if they're into sports and they start traveling, going to those things. We were the parents that could do all that. And it was, you know, people talk about a balanced life. Throw that out the window. You're never going to have a balanced life. No one has a balanced life. There is no balance. It's either going up, it's going down, it's going sideways, it's going in, it's going out. Your mom's dying. Your this is going on. Whatever. There is no balanced life. What we can do is create an integrated life. We can integrate a business life and a personal life all melded into one. And that, to me, is an easier life than having them completely separate. When they're completely separate, you're always going to resent work time for family time. Or you're going to be, I'm doing all this, but I'm not getting ahead in my career. They're always going to be conflicting. We integrate the whole thing and put it all together. Our kids are part of our family. They're part of our business. They're part of our life. And it's a different idea. It is a different idea. But, you know, I'll give you just a couple of little examples. And if the kids are saying, "Oh, Mom, you're always on the phone," you know, Jennifer used to get that all the time. "Mom, you're not even get on the phone. All you do is not on the phone. Why don't you just listen to me and do what I need instead of you just talking on the phone all the time," right? You get that. Well, you know, the nice complaint. Okay, all right. Well, what is it that you really want? How would you like to be involved in my business? You can lick the stamps. You can send this out. You could do that. You could do this. You could do that. And let's just say, here's what Mom's trying to do. Once again, family goals, integrated life. This is what Mom's trying to do, or this is what Dad's trying to do. And when we get to this spot, national marketing director, maybe there's some steps along the way. We're going to go skiing when we get to senior sales coordinator. That's a family ski trip. We're going to do it because we have this new money. We can take a vacation now. We get to national marketing director. It's tons of people. We're going to Disneyland. Now it changes the whole thing. When the kids see Mom off the phone, they're saying, "Mom, don't you have some phone calls to make?" You know, Disneyland, right? They're in the game. We're all doing this together. Right? So it's an integrated life that we get an opportunity to do in this. And I think it's the best mommy business on the planet. I mean, nothing counts like this. It's so cool.
Sean, we appreciate it. We know that people are on this call for a half an hour, and otherwise I'd have to go for another hour if you didn't mind. I know you would, but been phenomenal. What a great way to start the year. Anything you want to say, hon?
No, there's really nothing I need to say. I think you've really covered it, Sean. It's about mindset. It's about creating the life, writing it down, knowing what you want, and having it pull you rather than you being dragged along. That's really the kicker. Find the thing that makes you want to fire up and get out of bed in the morning.
Live inspired, not guilty. I love you guys. Happy New Year.
All right, thanks, Sean.
Everybody, I'm going to unmute you all. Would you guys
Happy New Year, Sean. Thank you. Great show.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
You want to say thank you?
Good babies.